Welcome everyone, Jamil Curry here, or some people call me Jam Jam from Aravaipa Rides, and welcome to the Aravaipa Rides podcast. This is our very first one, and I'm honored today to have our first guest. I think it's very appropriate, Chloe Woodruff.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
I am very honored to be the first guest on the podcast. Thank you.
So we got connected recently thanks to a mutual friend, Mike Hermsmeyer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you were looking to do something which we'll talk about later. But I want to start off, before we jump into everything, why are we doing this? Why are we doing the Aravaipa Rides podcast? And it kind of hit me in the last week. We just organized our very first kids mountain bike race. And it's funny because I say kids, but there's also people up to 18 racing. So I don't know what it's like, weird. Juniors, I don't know.
Yeah, junior.
The lingo.
Youth,
so
a youth
race.
Yeah, a youth race.
But it was a lot of fun. And I don't know everyone in the mountain biking world. I come from a trail running background, although I've been cycling since I was a kid. I mean, I did a 50-mile ride when I was in Boy Scouts, and I've been enjoying being a recreational rider in the sport and getting more into it myself. And Aravaipa Rides is an offshoot of Aravaipa Running, and we've organized 10 races now, and I wanted to do something really that kind of gave back to the sport and give a chance to meet different people and get to learn their stories. And that's what this is about. It's just about meeting people, sharing their stories, and hopefully we can all grow a closer community. And this is my thing to be part of that. So I'm excited. That's why we're doing it. And if you guys do want to support this podcast and what we're trying to do here, we will at some point have some sponsorship opportunities. Right now, our listenership is very small, non-existent. We got 2 people listening in.
Sweet. Hey,
but I think it'll grow. So we'd love to in the future partner with brands in the industry. But for now, if you want to support us right now, you can shop in our online store at aravaiparides.com. And Chloe is showing off one of our hats right there.
Yeah.
You can also sign up for one of our rides events, and we've got some coming up this fall. And with that, let's get right into this. I'm here with Chloe, and you are a professional mountain biker for Stan's Pivot Pro team powered by Maxxis. You're an Olympian.
I am. Mm-hmm.
You live in Prescott, but also spend some time in Phoenix as well.
Yes, kind of recently relocated to Phoenix.
Oh,
but still have a home and a close connection with Prescott. So
awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to town. Where in the valley are you now?
Elliott and 48th, kind of in the Ahwatukee area.
Sweet. So very close to South Mountain.
Right at the base of South Mountain, which was important. So.
Great. Mm-hmm. And you've kind of, like a lot of us, had your year turned upside down due to this pandemic and things going on with that nature. So let's start out. Give us a background on how you got into mountain biking.
Yeah, so I grew up in Boulder, Colorado. I think that explains a lot. I mean, it's a very active outdoor community, probably higher concentration of professional athletes than just about anywhere in the world. And I got connected with or introduced to riding through my middle school teacher's husband, who's a tech editor at Velo News. His name's Leonard Zinn. He started kind of an after-school mountain bike program and also brought the entire middle school on a class trip to Moab. So I got to ride in Moab, and
it's probably some of the best riding out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's actually cool. We had a class assignment. We had to write about an experience from that trip, and it's pretty neat. I still have an essay I wrote about my very first mountain bike ride.
Nice.
And I was 7th grade at the time. And I think I ended, like, the last paragraph was, mountain biking is a sport I want to get better at. And here I am 25 years later still trying to get better. So, that's where it started. And I did my first race in high school. This was before NICA, before we had a lot of racing opportunities for kids and for young adults. But I luckily had a lot of people just kind of encouraging me. And that's one thing you will realize in the sport, that people are so passionate and want to help out and want to give opportunities to young people. So, and here I am, many years later, and figured out how to race professionally, make it my full-time job, and I've loved it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask you if there was much of an infrastructure up in Colorado at the time. So you just found adult races to hop into?
Yeah, and there are always kind of kids categories. But for a long time, my experience racing, it was just, me and a couple other girls. And, we may have traveled even across the country, but it was kind of always a very small group of us. So, but we were pretty competitive with each other, and I always I had some good training partners back home, and I rode my bike. I didn't have a car until I got to college, so I rode my bike everywhere. I just loved to ride. I pedaled on the road quite a bit. I jumped into some road racing. I was just really open to any opportunity to ride my bike, and and so that's how I got better.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was blown away. I didn't know a lot about NICA, but I learned recently since we organized this event. And it's amazing how many people are involved, how many kids, how many parents and coaches.
Yeah, it truly is incredible. And I've been able to see the league grow from day one here in Arizona. And I mean, without a doubt, it's actually even likely kind of added years onto my own career, because it's, I think I've been doing this a long time, and it means so much when you kind of see the future of the sport. And I draw a lot of inspiration from that, just kind of seeing just the enthusiasm and the joy that comes from discovering mountain biking, and you can kind of see that at any age, but it really is neat to kind of see it at that high school and now middle school level.
Are there opportunities for you as a professional to get involved in something like that as a role model?
I was involved as a coach in the early years of NICA here in Arizona, and I try to keep tabs with Mike Perry, who runs the league. And actually, this evening, I am doing a kind of a Q&A Zoom call that's open to kids and coaches. So,
awesome.
And I always try to make it to a race or two every year. Fortunately, the Arizona League was canceled this year. They're still running practices, which is huge, but they don't have the same race opportunities. So that's something we're going to talk about this evening, and definitely a disappointment, but just, it's kind of it's just been a challenging year. So.
Yeah, well, and I know your year got mixed up because you were gearing up to qualify for the Olympics this year, which got postponed. So tell us about your past experiences at the Olympics. And I am someone who's a bit ignorant. I don't even know what Olympic mountain biking looks like. Can you describe that?
Sure, and it's kind of funny because oftentimes when, if talk about me being an Olympian in a different context, people sometimes you can see the wheels turning a little bit, and you're like, yeah, mountain biking is an Olympic sport. So it's not a very big one, but it's definitely kind of been growing.
Is it pretty recent that it joined?
It was actually in 2000 in Atlanta, or 1996 in Atlanta. So mountain biking was still a pretty new sport back then. So it has been in the Olympics for a period of time. And so the Olympic format is called XCO, cross country. It's an endurance sport. The race typically lasts for an hour 15 to an hour and a half, and you race multiple laps on a course. And that course will feature a lot of short, punchy climbs, a lot of really technical rock gardens. You race in any weather. A lot of times you can have mud, you can have slippery routes to navigate. There are even tech and feed zones, usually 2 on that course, where if you have a mechanical, you can get assistance. You can take water bottle hand-ups, grab whatever it is, like your food.
Do they let you swap a bike? Do you bring a spare bike?
No, you cannot. You cannot swap a bike. You can swap wheels if you have a flat. Really, you don't want to visit the tech zone.
Sure, yeah. You're having a bad race if that happens.
An idea of what it looks like. The intensity remains really high, and one of the exciting things is you're racing over really challenging terrain, and oftentimes with your heart rate absolutely pegged. So it really is exciting racing. You can watch, it's the same format that's our World Cup races, and you can watch those on Red Bull TV. And so just give you an idea of what it's like. We also get to race I race for Pivot, which is based here in Tempe, and the bikes we get to race are absolutely incredible. So it's been amazing to see how far bikes have come in the last few years. Very much cross-country bikes, but they're incredibly capable. So
because bikes have just gotten a lot more specialized too, right? There's like you could own a whole fleet of bikes for different types of courses and riding profiles and things.
Yep, you can. So yeah, the tech part of it is, I mean, you could kind of dive into a whole conversation that direction. But bottom line is I get to race some incredibly capable, fun bikes, and it's pretty neat that they're based here in Tempe.
So tell us about the qualifying process, and obviously, so did the qualifying happen this year, or has that been postponed till 2021?
So there's been some qualification which happened in 2019. We have, and then it will continue through 2021. We have no opportunities to automatically qualify, which means this season. So even though actually the World Championships are this weekend, even though the selection committee can consider results from 2020, you cannot automatically make the team based on a performance criteria. That will be reserved for 2021. And so the process is actually fairly complicated, but it really started in 2019. And or actually even started a couple years before that. So the first step is you have to qualify starting positions for your nation. And that has been a really neat process to be a part of. It was very much a team effort for the U.S. women to kind of travel to chase our international ranking points. And we're doing that so we can earn the maximum number of starting positions, and that's 3. Only 2 countries in the world get 3 spots at that Olympic race. And the U.S. is positioned extremely well for that. We're currently ranked 2nd, and it looks like we will remain there. So, and that is a pretty massive accomplishment. And so, assuming we have these 3 spots, one position has already been qualified, and that's by Kate Courtney, who is a 2018 world champion. She won the World Cup last year. And that leaves 2 spots remaining, and nobody has automatically qualified for those yet, but there will be an opportunity next year. And if they aren't automatically met, which means, it could be a top 8 at the World Cup next year, that would do it. But if nobody makes that, then it'll come down to like a discretionary coaches selection.
Okay. So you were gearing up for, I guess, that process this year. And so what changed your plan, or what did you do instead, or how have your plans changed this year?
I think like everyone, they've changed they seem to be constantly in flux. And, if anything, we've all had to learn how to be adaptable and kind of go with the flow a little bit. I think, so I made a pretty big decision about a month and a half ago, which is to not travel to Europe for our World Cup season this year and our World Championships. And so, and I had trained really hard for those races, but when it came down to it, I felt like it wasn't critical for me to go race over there. I've raced on the World Cup for many years. I have experience at that level. I have no doubt that I can perform and reach that level next year. And just with the state of everything in the world right now, I couldn't justify making the trip over there. It didn't seem critical for me. So why travel internationally? Why potentially expose yourself or other people to that type of risk, I guess? And but on that note, every athlete traveling for racing right now has to make their own decisions, and so I support everyone. But yeah, so I'm not racing internationally this year, which is a big change.
Yeah. I think everything's been shaken up.
Yes.
So I don't know if this was due to all the events of this year, but you created something really cool earlier this year, close to home, and kind of got you just in your own backyard. Tell us about the Prescott Circle Trail Challenge.
Yeah. So, back in March when we just had this first round of event cancellations, and it was a pretty challenging time, and I just knew myself really pretty well, and I realized, hey, I need to train for something. I need to feel excited and motivated. And in Prescott, Arizona, we have the Prescott Circle Trail. It's a 56-mile continuous single-track loop around the city. I ride it every single year, and it truly is. It's really challenging. It's just a great day on the bike to put together. And I decided, and I kind of was asking around, hey, I wonder what the fastest time is anyone's done on the Circle Trail. And so I just decided, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to try to set the fastest time. I'm going to train for it. And out of that kind of project, I started to think, maybe I can open this up to other people, give other people in the community opportunity to train for something, and also to raise money for a good cause. So what we did is we set up the Prescott Circle Trail Challenge, and participants just pledged to complete the trail, either individually or to team, and also pledged to raise $1 per mile of the trail, so $56 a piece, and all of that's donated to the Prescott Mountain Bike Alliance, PIMBA, and it goes back to maintenance of the trail. So that's kind of the idea and what the project is, and participants pretty much have most of the year up until November 3rd to complete their challenge.
I better get out there.
I know it's the countdown has started. But it's been really amazing to just hear stories and see people's posts and see the enthusiasm.
And people can do it in a day, or they can break it up over more than one day, right?
They can do it over a weekend. So it needs to be within 48 hours. It doesn't have to be continuous. You can do half the trail, eat a good dinner, have a good night's sleep, go back and finish it the next day. I just wanted it to be accessible and doable for a wide range of people. So we've had 100 people sign up so far, which is awesome. And 40% of people signed up are women, which I think is pretty rad. And so far we've raised, I checked this morning, it was $14,300, which kind of blew away my goal initially. And that has just been through individual, all pretty much small individual donations, which has been fantastic.
That's awesome. And how we got connected was about making a film about this, which we need to wrap up. And I think I'm announcing, we're wrapping it up and we're releasing it shortly.
Ooh.
So keep an eye out for that. We are going to have that go out, and hopefully if you are hearing this for the first time, please go sign up. How can people sign up and find out more information, how to get involved?
ChloeWoodruff.com/Prescott Circle Trail Challenge. That's where you can find info about it. And just want to thank you as well for I had this whole idea for a long time, and I felt I wanted to have a logo for it, and I wanted to, kind of create a video about it. And that's the first time I reached out to Aravaipa Rides and Jamil, and they jumped on board and said, hey, we like the idea, let's do it. So that kind of helped kick me into gear and get it done. So it's been great just to have have a partner and involvement in it.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for us, we really wanted to get involved in something that gave back as well. So it was a great opportunity for us to support something, and we're excited about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So keep an eye out. We'll definitely be posting it on our YouTube channel, cool. And I'm sure you'll be sharing it as well.
For sure.
And I don't know, do you have a YouTube channel or?
No.
Not really? Okay.
No.
But maybe, we might even put it on your Instagram or something. You can all check it out.
For sure.
I do want to do a quick break for a sponsor plug. We have our first sponsor. So I'm going to do this little read here. Actually, my friend he sent me his audio read, but I'm going to read it in my own voice. So we want to thank Squirrel's Saddle Butter. It's the world's best all-natural cycling salve. Use this slick blend to prevent saddle sores and chafing on your next ride. With zinc oxide, peppermint, and tea tree oils, it will leave you chafe-free, without saddle sores, and smelling nice. Made locally in Flagstaff, Arizona. Check out squirrelsnutbutter.com for more information. And I myself not only use their kind of normal squirrel's nut butter, which is for running, but they have this specific one for cycling. And I used it on my first ever 50-mile race as an adult anyways, at the Whiskey 50 last year, and definitely kept me chafe free all day. So check them out. So you also recently did some bike packing. I think this was right after
Yes.
we did, well, maybe not recently.
I was packing like immediately after doing the Prescott Circle Trail Challenge.
Yeah.
To
like
get ready
leaving
to
like
leave.
the next day or
Yep.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about that, because is that something you normally have done, or is this a first time thing?
That was nope, never done bike packing before. Honestly, the idea of like, if you had asked me any other time, I probably would have been like, yeah, no, not for me. Like, I love to ride. I love to get into out of the way places, but I like to go fast. Not all the time, but I just, like the idea of carrying a bunch of stuff just doesn't appeal to me. But it really, I loved it. I loved every part of it.
Where did you go, and how long was it, and who did you go with?
So I went with some of my closest race friends, Evelyn Dong, Rose Grant, and Caitlin Boyle. So the four of us rode I think it was most of segment 3 of the Wild West route, which is a new bikepacking route that goes from Canada to Mexico.
Oh, wow. Haven't even heard of it.
Check it out, Wild West
route. Does it come through Arizona?
It does, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And we started in Darby, Montana, which is actually where Rose Grant grew up, and we rode to Stanley, Idaho. It was all like mostly Jeep roads and just dirt roads, but I mean the country up there is unbelievable, and a lot of the days were like just like riding these up and over these like massive passes. I think there's one day we literally climbed for 5 or 6 hours, and that was our day, and then we camped at the top of a pass.
Wow.
So but it was just it was just like it was much needed like experience, especially this year. Just an opportunity to slow down, do something different, outside with, just some really good friends. And yeah.
How many miles did you cover? Approximately.
I think it was less than 400. I could be really off on that.
Cool.
I don't quite remember, but it was a 4-day. So we camped for 3 nights. First day we left in the rain. We actually postponed our departure a day because of the weather. We left in the rain. We wound up like hiking or pushing our bikes through snow at one point. But everything just like worked out beautifully. The weather turned, and the last day we, like in the last 5 miles, we jumped into a hot spring along the Salmon River. So it was beautiful.
Awesome. So I have a goal for myself. I'm putting it out into the world here, so I hold myself accountable. But I want to ride the whole Maricopa Trail, which goes around Phoenix. It connects all the regional parks here, and it's relatively new. And so would you have some advice for someone like me? I'm a recreational rider, and I don't have any bikepacking gear. What would be a good resource or just advice for doing a multi-day trip like that?
Talk to somebody else who really knows what they're doing out there.
That's fair.
I think, so Caitlin Boyle, who we went with, she's she's an ultra racer. So she does like multi-day bike races, and she was amazing, like in terms of like just boiling down what you need to the very basics. We used some bags from Relevate Designs, and I think along the Maricopa Trail you run whatever bike you have, but just finding the right bags, like the seat bag was super handy.
Cool.
We had like a big roll on the front.
Nice.
So have fun with the planning.
Cool. Sounds like I need to investigate Caitlin a little bit more and maybe
Caitlin,
ask her
she
for
would
some
be
advice.
a good guest on the podcast too.
Yeah. Is she local or is she in Montana?
She's relocated to Idaho.
Oh, Idaho. Okay.
I think we can all claim her as our own here in Arizona.
Nice.
She lived here for a long time, and she's actually back in Arizona now. So, but that sounds awesome. I've actually looked at the Maricopa Trail a little bit myself. I don't know that I would want to like pack overnight gear, but I think there's some opportunities to even like stay along places along the route. I'm not sure, but
That's awesome.
I want to explore the valley a little bit more. That's a great way to do it.
I haven't made any, I don't have a plan or anything yet. I just know I want to do it.
I think you should just wing it.
I am. And
okay.
I do need to put some time back on the saddle because I have not ridden much lately. And even just riding the kids loop the other night, like 5 miles, I had a little saddle soreness. I was like, I got to put some hours in.
Yeah.
Just to toughen myself
up
it's
again. Good to, and that's the thing, you want it to be enjoyable. So I think you need to make sure you're comfortable, like with, riding your bike for a few hours at a time. I mean, you obviously have the aerobic fitness. It's just
from running. Definitely. Yeah. So it'll be fun. It'll give me a goal. So anyways, I'm definitely going to do it at some point this winter and get out there.
That sounds like a great plan.
You recently did do a race. Was this your first one back since the pandemic? And it was called the Pikes Peak Apex. It was in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Tell us about that. I didn't quite understand. Is it a multi-day type format? Yeah,
it was a 4-day stage race. It's actually had been on my calendar. It's like the one race that has been on my calendar since maybe May, and like it didn't get canceled. They did a really great job. I think, just putting on an event during COVID time and making sure everyone stayed safe. And I drove up there, and I had a lot of ambivalence in the weeks beforehand. Like training was going pretty well, but I don't know, it wasn't really nerves, but I just kind of felt this like, I don't know if I'm ready to get back and race. And it's funny, like after stage 1, it was like, oh yeah, like I missed this.
You're back.
That excitement came back pretty quick. And I think it was also just being back around my race family again, and my family lives in Boulder, Colorado. They came down to hang out for a couple days too, so it was just really special to kind of have everyone around. My boyfriend came too from here, and so it was just like, I don't know, it was kind of a perfect way to get back into it. So it's 4 days, and we had definitely a tough field. There was good racing out there. I finished 3rd after the time trial prologue. My teammate Rose smashed that and ran away with it, which was pretty awesome. She chased me down out there, and then stage 2 I finished 2nd, and then I won the last 2 stages. So, and the overall, which was it was good.
Awesome.
Good confidence boost.
That's great. I don't know if you'll answer this question, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a very broad question. I don't know why I wrote it down, but just could you tell us what is the mountain biking scene in Arizona like? Because when I've been getting more involved and seeing there's so much going on, could you distill it down or in any way? It just seems to be a great variety of stuff that almost anyone could get into.
Off-road race, we have this umbrella, we could say off-road racing, and within that you've got the NBAA series, which is cross country and marathon. We have an enduro series. We have, our spacing out on what they're called, the underground races, the longer kind of self-time type stuff. There's a huge variety of events. A bunch of local short track races, 24-hour race down in Old Pueblo with epic rides. So whiskey off-road. I mean, I could go on and on. So we have a ton of events, and I think there's amazing energy within the mountain bike community in Arizona.
Does it feel like it's a growing scene?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think just the amount of events we have simply demonstrate that there's really a large demand for different types of racing, and also for a variety of places. So, and in addition, we have a bunch of gravel racing now. So there's a ton of opportunities. I've always really loved the opportunities to race locally and regionally. It's something that's always been important to me to kind of find those opportunities, and in recent years it's become more challenging as I think my goals have been a little bit more focused, and I realize even when you go to a local race, you're kind of expending energy with just being I'm a very introverted person, and I love the opportunities to connect with people and to be out there, but it does like drain a lot of just energy from me, and so I have to kind of figure out how to balance that. But
as a pro, you kind of at some point probably get locked into a calendar or like a certain series of races in order to find the competition. I guess.
So there's kind of the races you really have to do just to build your form and to prep for like the A races you're training for, which in my case have been World Cup races. But then I always look at the calendar and I'm always trying to find, okay, what other races can I use, regionally to really, that would just be fun, or, use them for prep. Like I got to do the NBAA in Lake Havasu this year. It's a great course out there. So I don't know. I really love our mountain bike scene. So it's pretty fantastic.
What is your favorite event in Arizona?
Well, the Whiskey Off-Road. Easy.
Awesome. And what about in the United... Oh, yeah, and why? Well, I mean, I guess I don't even need to ask why.
Because I can sleep in my own bed and roll out of bed and, literally don't even have to pedal. I just coast to the start line.
It's also really fun.
It's an amazing event. There's great energy there. But, of course, I know those trails. It's like, that's an easy one. But we also have the 24 race down in Old Pueblo is a great one. I love desert racing. I love racing out of McDowell. The competitive loops out there are fantastic. And Sarah Park in Lake Havasu is also a really cool place to ride a bike. It's like whenever I'm out there, I'm always like, is this what it's like to race on the moon?
Yeah.
The Mojave Desert is very different.
Yeah.
And then even Flagstaff has some great events up there. So.
What about your favorite event in the United States outside Arizona?
I was gonna say, whiskey.
Whiskey still tops it. That's good to know. But what would be outside Arizona, but domestically, what's your favorite?
That's a hard one to answer. I think so much has to do with just the experience. And the last World Cup I raced was the World Cup in Snowshoe, West Virginia, and that may actually always be one of my favorite experiences at a race. Just having a World Cup on home soil that people showed up for, the crowds at that race were unbelievable. Nice. And Snowshoe, West Virginia is probably one of the most inaccessible places in the country. It's 4 hours from the nearest airport, and it's 4 hours of small twisty roads, and Snowshoe Resort is small. It's up on this mountain, but it's just a beautiful region, and tens of thousands of people came out to watch, and just the energy from that event was incredible. And I hear they inscripted again for next year. Of course, with COVID, who knows what the event will be like. I'm sure we won't have spectators in the same kind of form, but that was just truly a special experience. So.
Cool. And now we're going worldwide. What's your favorite event worldwide? And is it the whiskey?
Well, yeah. It's my hometown race.
That's awesome.
Worldwide?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I love every race I've ever done, in South America. And I love South America, and that's probably why. But, it's, I don't know. It's hard to pick one place. I've had many opportunities to travel. I've raced in Europe. I've raced in Africa. I've raced, a year ago I was in Japan at this time racing. I raced in Israel last year. So wow. I've just had amazing opportunities to travel, and I don't know. I can't pick one place. Every place is exciting and different and fun.
What is your go-to snack on a long ride?
Whew. I have some weird things that I like.
Yeah, we want the weird stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love green olives. That's kind of weird.
You want the salt sometimes, I guess.
Salty, a really long ride. That's
actually racing in Europe. I did a really long 100+ mile run in Andorra, and they had olives at the aid stations, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, they are good. like that. It is like the saltiness. So, you know, a lot of times with like short, high intensity rides, it's like a lot of goos, which, you know, and I have like the flavors that I like with those. But yeah, I mean, typically like different types of bars. So
Favorite Goo flavor?
Favorite flavor, vanilla. I know, it's such a
a
vanilla pick.
Mine's French toast. I love the maple.
That one's good too, and I think that one actually is like supports NICA, which is great.
Oh, that's right.
They have these different flavors that like go to good cause.
See, that's probably why I like it.
And I really like the Hoppy Trails one as well. It's not very sweet, and I like how it says like 0% alcohol by volume in the Goo.
Yeah, they have a good sense of humor over there at Goo.
They're a great company too. So
that's awesome. And I'm going to ask you I want to have like a torch-bearing thing. So who should we interview next on this podcast?
I think you should reach out to Caitlin Boyle.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We've already talked about her. She's in Arizona now, too. So you might be able to get her down here.
Great.
Yes. And then you can really pick her brain about the Maricopa Trail and like the things you should bring and eat. I'm
going to bring a map on here and we're going to spread it out and we're going to make a whole plan.
And definitely the things you shouldn't bring as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have to bring some whiskey, I think, for sure.
We did bring a fair amount of whiskey and chocolate.
Great.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll have someone meet me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. We were like, when we were packing, we were like eliminating things left and right. But then it was like, there's no question.
Yeah.
Like I think I had 2 pounds of chocolate. Like, you know, the Trader Joe's pound bars? Yeah, I think I had 2 of them packed.
Nice.
Yeah, essentials.
I definitely want you to have a chance to plug your sponsors or thank anyone. So, and also, how can we find you? How can people find you?
Yeah, the best place to find me is on Instagram at Chloe Woodruff. And I race for Stans, Pivot, and Maxis. So I've been with them for a number of years, and I feel very grateful to have such amazing sponsors who also make, hands down, the best equipment for riding. So I'm lucky.
Awesome. And just another plug for the Prescott Circle Trail Challenge. Get in on that. Sign up. The weather's getting nicer, so it's a great time to get out there on that loop. Yeah,
it's beautiful out there. And if you finish, you get to... Is this one on?
That's the one on.
Yeah. Aravaipa Artworks made us these awesome coasters. So I've been using one here.
Great to see using them today.
I know. I just picked them up today.
So
I'm really excited. They're like So...
Awesome.
And the Prescott Circle Trail Challenge will, the plan is for it to be an annual challenge. So this isn't just a 2020 event. This is something I want to, evaluate and improve upon for next year. So hopefully next year we will have the 2021 coaster version.
Nice.
So you can start your collection.
Yeah. Sounds like it's off to a great start.
I think so.
So that's great. Well, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time here and coming on and being our first guest.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah.
Although next time you have to tell me you're doing video.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, now you know it's a video podcast.
Yep. Because I just literally got off my bike from a hard workout. I walk in here all disheveled, and it's like, we're doing video.
There's cameras set up. What's going on?
Luckily, I got the cute hat, so we're set. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. You guys can find this podcast wherever you could find podcasts. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Cool.
If you want to see the video version, or you can find us on Spotify probably and everywhere else. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.